CAA Hoops Weekly presented by Under Armour here at the Showplace Arena for the quarterfinals today, and I'm here with the all-star here who called 3 CAA.TV games for us, Christine Coramata. First of all, welcome to your debut here on Hoops Weekly. We're glad to have you.
Well, thanks. You know, they were calling me Marathon Mata earlier, doing all 4 games today.
Indeed we did. Well, it was a lot of storylines to get to, so let's go game by game. We kick off with James Madison taking on College of Charleston. Of course, the Cougars won the day before, coming in. Nothing to lose, and they sure played like it.
Yeah, the surprise of the day, I think they just jumped down on JMU in a way that JMU wasn't even ready for. But historically, if you think back the last few years, JMU has struggled in the quarterfinal round.
Yep.
They've always pulled it off. They've never lost that game in the last few years when they've made their runs, but today was a different story. I think that set the tone for all the quarterfinals.
And Ashley Perez with the late three-pointer to propel the Dukes into the semifinals, and they will take on the Delaware Blue Hens in a game here, Christine, that was a tale of two halves.
Yeah, when you talk about the JMU game, they only led in the very beginning and at the very end with under a minute to go, and much the same in the Delaware game as well, where they dug a big hole, they creeped their way back in, tied it with 3 minutes to go, and then they were able to secure that 7-point lead and never looked back. And a little bit of a change from last year, but now they're in their 7th straight semifinal game tomorrow.
So we'll be Delaware taking on JMU as the Blue Hens knock off the Phoenix. And then we look at tonight's session. Drexel, very business-like approach. We're able to knock off Towson. Towson looking a little tired there in the second half, and the Dragons were able to take advantage.
Yeah, Towson playing without their best player, Raven Bankston. She got an eye injury the day before, but other players stepped up. Dominique Johnson, Martin, the freshman Tar, all stepped up. And whenever you can have a few people do a few extra things collectively for an injured teammate, it really was impressive what Towson tried to do. They just didn't have enough today.
And then the Dragons will move on, and we are talking about surprises throughout. That's kind of the theme today here on Hoops Weekly. The biggest surprise probably this evening, Northeastern, you know, they came out on fire out of the gates and were able to hold on to the lead late to knock off Hofstra, who was in the championship game last year. The Huskies advanced into their first semifinals in their program history in the CAA.
They're making history here. Kelly Cole and her squad really starting to see things through, and from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, just such improvement. And when they jumped out to that 22 lead, I really think that just set the tone. And, you know, that's the first 6 seed to advance over a 3 seed in 12 years.
That very impressive by the Huskies. So now the Final Four is set here at the CAA Women's Basketball Championship semifinals tomorrow on Comcast Sportsnet. Let's talk about the first one, JMU versus Delaware. It's been a rivalry for a while. They've faced off in many games like this over the years. How do you see this one playing out?
Well, Delaware hasn't had much luck lately against JMU, with both of the games being pretty big margins down in JMU and at the Bob Carpenter Center as well. But, you know, they're hoping that the saying of it's hard to beat a team 3 times holds true in that first semifinal game tomorrow.
And then the winner, of course, will take on either Drexel and Northeastern. And, of course, the Dragons have been in this situation numerous times in the past. Huskies have not. Will that play a factor tomorrow?
Well, I'm not sure, but Drexel was in a similar situation last year as Hofstra was this year. They were upset by Delaware, and now they've redeemed themselves. They're in a semifinal game. But the way Northeastern's playing, they won now 8 of their last 10 games. I wouldn't want to play Northeastern if I was Drexel, but Drexel is one of the class teams of this conference, the number 2 seed, and if they're shooting the ball well, they're moving off their screens, moving well without the ball, I wouldn't count a Denise Dillon team out either.
Once again, those semifinals are on Comcast Sportsnet. If you do not have Comcast Sportsnet in your area, we will be streaming the broadcast live on CA.TV. And Christine, you can go now. Your marathon is over. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for everything today. Glad to have you on.
Well, quarterfinal day is a great day. It was awesome.
All right, folks. We'll see you with the wrap-up tomorrow after the semifinals.